Hello and welcome. That's not on, is it? No. Always got a light on my head or something on my head. So I wanted to interject here a bit because whilst there's a lot of me rambling on, I don't know, my daughters tell me that I need to stop rambling because I ramble too much. It's true. At the end, you'll see what this birch is like once you've made it into shelves and desks and applied oil and then a few layers of varnish. So if you want to skip all the boring stuff and go to the last few minutes, you'll see then what I've been running and what I've been doing. Bit of an update. So the Logasol PH260, you've seen me renovate it and get it working and everything else. And you can see from the lovely bags of shavings, right, it's working. So I've had to switch around with various pipes. This small single bagger, that runs one of the side heads. This single extraction unit over there via this mass here, that extracts from the bottom head. And then the double bagger over there, this one extracts from the top head, that extracts from the side head. 4 heads, 4 pipes, 3 extraction units. Now what you haven't seen is me playing with different moulds. I'll call it playing. It wasn't playing when I started doing this, it is now. Anyway, so I've made some quadrant for the corners and the top of the ceilings, and I made a bunch of different moulds up there for different things that I'm doing. Skirting, tongue and groove, obviously, and then skirtings, floorboards, door frames, skirtings, simple with just a bevel edge. Yesterday I wanted to make some internal and external corners and immediately found the limit of the machine. And you need 7 heads. 6 heads would... 7 heads would be ideal, 6 heads is adequate, 4 heads, no. But I'm about to max it out. So I've got one of the big birches we cut up down there, slabbed, ready. But the very last one, which was a cube, which was on the sawmill, that's this one. And I've cut it into various lengths, and I've worked out that the maximum width I can cut on here is 254 millimetres, right? Absolute max. And at that, it's crushing one of the internal pipes here, right, which I don't like. So what I did was, with all my cut lengths, firstly I used the overhead planer there, and I put a straight edge on it. And then I used the bandsaw there at 250mm to cut all of this to width. So my boards have got one smooth edge, and they're 250mm wide. And they're 28mm thick. So that means that I've set this to 245mm. I'm taking off 1mm on the underhead. I'm going to take off 2.5mm on the top head, 2mm on this head, and 2mm on this head. This should give me a 25mm by 240mm board, which is maxing it out. So what I've got to be careful with, on a much bigger machine, on a much more powerful machine, you haven't got to worry about if you're 3, 4, even 5mm over thickness, because a bigger machine will just take it off. This won't. It will knock the bearings out, it will burn belts out, it will jam, all the things we don't want. So I've been really careful to make sure all my boards are, give or take, somewhere between 0.3 and 0.7 of a millimetre the same width, to avoid any nastiness, and they're all the same width, thickness and width. The tolerances are quite fine, because I need a perfectly flat, nice board. I've got to make some desks, bookshelves, some office furniture, and this is what I want to use, and I just don't want to lose a board or mess up the machine now I've got it running or anything else. So, but it is going to be maxed out on width, for sure. depth, irrespective. You can certainly take off a lot more on the under and overheads than you can the left and right. The simple nature of the way that they're belted and, you know, the way everything else, and their width. So, anyhow, we'll start up all the bagging machines and we'll start up the machines. It's all going to get really loud. I expect I'll mute it out and play some sort of music over it. And we'll see how we go with these boards. Now, I haven't run a test one yet, so I'm kind of hoping it don't mess up going through. I don't know how badly the camera was wobbling on there. So, my apologies for the wobbly camera, but it's because it was in the bottom of the river and my stabilising motor no longer works. Right, so that's it, maxed out. So when we were cutting this on the sawmill, obviously it was really nice. Now the light's not great here. Oh, I can add to that, there we go. Whee! The light's not great here, but we can kind of see. This was, it's a bit ropey, it's a bit dead there, but there's some nice stuff inside. There's definitely some nice stuff inside. For us, good enough, good enough. So the different species, well, this has got this grain because it's old. This over here, this is birch glass. This is a different species here and here, the smaller stuff. Doesn't have so much colour in it. Right, this rough bit underneath. Okay, how am I getting on with this machine? Well, I've set it up, broken it down and changed cutters on it several times now. I'll kind of explain to you what I think and what I like and what I don't like. What I don't like is the fact that the bottom cutter, the bottom head, this one here, is non-adjustable. Now, I know you can adjust your lead-in by removing and taking these plates off, which I've done. So I've taken one off, so I've got a 1mm lead-in. It's not enough. It's 30 to 40 minutes to take that off and go down another one so that I get 2mm lead-in. And even though these boards were flat, I mean, this is a prime example here, isn't it? Even though these boards were flat and these ones are narrow, it's missing bits on the underside, which is all right if you aren't using the timber where it's seen both sides or it's not critical. But I would much rather have a PAR board that's PAR'd and not PAR'd at planed all round for those that are PAR, planed all round. So, yeah. So I have to bear in mind, whilst I'm going to criticise this machine now, it's a budget machine for home use. It's not a professional machine. So I've struggled, found its limits real fast. My history in machinery is vast when it comes down to woodworking machinery. However, I have to say, for how much this costs, and for its size and its portability, I'm not sure you could get better. No, I'm positive. I'm positive that you can't do any better. And this is an old one, right? Now, I know, looking at the newer ones, the side heads are adjustable and changes have been made. So for its age and its condition, I'm doing all right. I'm very familiar now with its setup and how fast and how quickly I can change it from PARing to moulding. I know I can run it with one head on and the drive wheels, or all 4 heads, or 3 heads, or 2 heads. But what you can't do is you can't turn a head off. So its usability and flexibility and home, workshop, small hobbyist usability is good. It's really good. To use this on a professional basis, it'd get you going. It would definitely get you going. If you had nothing else, like I've got nothing else, I mean, I've got to speak to the man that owns this, because I've explained I haven't got the power to run a bigger machine, and certainly haven't got the resources. But one of these, I knew I needed one. I've always known I've needed one. I just didn't know little ones like this was available. But it's something that I've got to try and get my hands on at some point in the future. Anyway, I'm happy. I did a lot of trims and mouldings yesterday because of the snow outside. Obviously, do we even need to look outside? Well, you've seen me clearing snow this morning, but this might not be in the same video. This might be in tomorrow's video. Depends how I go. Anyway, I'll show you outside. So yesterday, I broke down and made up the machine. There we go. I broke it down and reset it and run different things 12 times yesterday, more than you want to. What you'd like to do is set it up for tongue and groove, and then just run every single piece of tongue and groove. However, I don't want the same type and pattern of tongue and groove in every room. So I have to run the tongue and groove, which I've done for a small room. And then I needed all the trims. And there's a reason for all of this. The fact that you just didn't do everything at once is there's bags of shavings everywhere. Now, as if this place ain't dangerous enough as it is, because it's built from wood, it's got shavings and sawdust in the walls and the floors and a big furnace going right up through the middle. If it's not already dangerous enough, I've decided to make it more dangerous, because all this is really good insulation. Don't care what anybody says, don't tell me otherwise. It's really good insulation. And it's going in the walls and the floors of the additions I'm building. And I need to... What am I even going on about? Just don't. Anyway, great. Lovely machine. I've got some nice material now. This is going to make a couple of office desks and some bookshelves and stuff that I'm working on another project. Got to do that. It's nice and dry, runs well. How did it cope maxed out? Yeah, good. Yeah, maxed out. You couldn't take any more off a machine. Width-wise, now I've wound this in now because I was doing the small ones. But width-wise, I was doing the max cut I could possibly do on the top head and the bottom head. And I've only got thin side cutters on there, and we were cutting at 30mm and they're only 50mm, so you would be hard pushed to give this machine any harder test. Now, when I say harder test, when you're cutting over 250mm, you don't want to attempt to take 5mm off. Ridiculous. You just don't even need to. If you needed to do that, then you leave your side heads left and right off. And you open the width slightly to allow the board to run through, and then you just run the top and bottom head and wind the board down first. So if you had a board at 50mm and you wanted to finish a 40mm, run it through without the side heads, and then turn the side heads on and give it its final shape and size. Yeah. Pleased and chuffed. Well, I don't want to rant on anymore. Well, actually, it wasn't a rant. I'm really impressed with it. I am really impressed with it. I'll go on about Toy Town. It is. But this one is more fit for purpose than some that were in this shop when I got it. I can tell you. Yeah, the machine's fit for purpose. It's worth the purchase. It's definitely worth the purchase. And it will allow you to run semi-professional. So if you needed to run your stuff off a sawmill, like I do, because I do everything from start to finish, before I cut a tree, I've got a pretty good idea what I'm going to use it for. So every tree is not firewood by a long way. It's only firewood as a last resort, or small stuff. Everything else has a thought process first, and sometimes I'm not even sure until I put it through the sawmill, because lumber's expensive and I can't buy it. But I do get an awful lot of free trees. So lumber first, firewood second. And having this in my shop, this takes me to the next level, because now I'm able to do a lot of finished products. Would I like to do a lot of finished products to be able to sell them? There's no customers here. There's no customers. There's a few. Could I earn a little bit more money by finishing my own timber and selling it in the immediate local area? Possibly. Would I bank on that as part of a business plan in order to justify a purchase of one of these machines? No, 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 no. Business plan, out the window. I know I've done some extensive business plans. This is not a business. It is a business. It keeps me fed. Am I going to make any money and make a profit? Absolutely not. So, one of these, right, I would need to find and obtain one at the right price to make it worth it. Would it be worth it long term? Yes. Do I think I could buy one of these and make enough machine timber to pay for it? Yes. Will it then go on to make me a huge profit afterwards? No. But it might help pay the electric bill and some of the other bills as the years go on. So it's worthwhile. I like it. I like it. I've really enjoyed the last few days being able to play with this machine setter in this kind of environment. Who wants a job? Who wants a job? And I don't mean I need to. No employees. Thank you. I will never, ever. That's quite a long time. I have no thoughts of employing anybody for any reason. But never, long time, never know. Anyway, I'm happy. I'm really happy. Thank you again. I'm just very happy. So after I finished running those wide boards, I then reset it up and rung a load of tongue and groove. So I've done this at a different camera angle up on top, and it's a bit, well, I hope it's not too shaky, and I've speeded it up because it took about 2 hours to run that tongue and groove. But that's once you set up, despite the bagging machines blocking up several times, that's how quickly and smoothly, once it's running, that you can run a whole load of tongue and groove. Thanks guys for watching. I want to give a huge shout out to Cody Miller for being my 50th subscriber. Thanks very much. Keep on watching. For those that you're not subscribed, doesn't cost you anything. Hit the subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.